Frontline this Thursday, the 30th of August, 2018. My name is Charles Odongtho, and the panel is full to capacity here, the panel that you would really want to have. Let me start from the extreme left with the frontliners. I have the Honorable Chairman Norbert Mao, is DP President General, but a frontliner. Honorable Dr. Chris Baromusi is sitting in or standing in for OO, who is on official duty, is in a meeting at State House and can't make it in time. But we have a full panel of guests. Angelo Izama, he is a journalist and political analyst. He is in the house right here. And I'm afraid the West Nile community seems to be dominating this table. Next to Angelo Izama is the newest MP for Kassiano for ARUA municipality, the Honorable Kassiano Wadri. He's right here, just straight from Gulu, where he has been appearing before the magistrate. And lastly, but not least, we have the Honorable Bright Rwamirama. He is a minister in the Ministry of Defense, Minister of State in charge of actually veterans, right? Yes, and but also MP. Now, we are going to be looking at two different issues. We will start with taking a look at what has come out of the strikes, the demonstrations, and the relationship between the media and the state. Is it about lack of objectivity by the media, or is it a ploy by the state to clamp down on the media? And that's why Angelo is very critical for this evening's discussion. But let me start with Dr. Baromusi, who is also currently acting as the minister in charge of information. Honorable, some people have said in the aftermath of the demonstrations, or during the demonstrations, the beatings of journalists, some people have blamed the media, that the media is the one fanning the strikes or the violence. Is that what you believe in the docket?
Well, first of all,
or far from that?
Let me start by greeting the viewers. Good evening, viewers. First of all, the media plays a key role and has continued to play a very significant role, especially in the last few weeks with respect to what has been going on. The media has done great to inform the public, to inform the country on what is going on. Like when we are here in Kampala, the media has been able to relay what is in ARUA, what is in Guru, what is happening to all these issues, and that has been positive, and we commend the media to that extent. But also, on the other hand, I think in a number of cases, the media has also, like you said, contributed to fanning chaos in this. One, some of you, the media practitioners, sometimes you lack objectivity and you get biased and get swayed by our partisan politics. Like for instance, recently there was a demonstration on, I think, on taxes, and some of your colleagues, the media practitioners, put on the red ribbon, and they were also marching. And I thought that was really incorrect, because we expect a media practitioner to be objective, not really to show a partisan side, especially in matters of politics, which we are handling. And also, sometimes the reporting in the mainstream media, both electronic and even the print media, at times there are those who are biased, but also at times there is a natural reporting. Like when yesterday one of the dailies reported that the Parliament had given an ultimatum to the President for 2 days to respond, or else. Yes, it wasn't like that, and I think the Deputy Speaker clarified that there was no ultimatum to that. But I think the most notorious form of media in all this has been the social media, which is not well regulated, and people just write anything that they want. Like when they posted that the Honorable Zake had died, and I understand that's what sparked off riots in Mitiana, when actually he had not. You have also seen what the social media has been posting about the medical condition of our colleagues, the members of parliament, and all those who were arrested. I heard on the BBC somebody saying, Honorable Chaguranyi is disfigured, his face has been dismantled and so forth. He was hit by an iron bar and so forth. And yet when he appeared in the court and the public, that was very different from what was being described. And part of the anger which we have seen in the public was as a result of the misinformation channeled especially through the social media, and it has done a lot of harm in all this. And what I would call for is for the media to remain objective and continue to do its noble cause, noble calling of informing the public, but as much as possible, the media should remain objective and report the facts as they are and avoid being swayed by the partisan politics, because they should be able to be neutral and objective and report facts as they are, but not twist them to take advantage of the politics.
Okay. Angelo, let me come to you at this point. Do you agree with what Dr. Chris Baryamunsi is submitting, that the media has become partisan, that we lack objectivity, and that we are now funding actually the violence, as it were? Some of the media. And as well as tackle it, he has put up a number of things, but also the role of social media.
Well, when I started practicing journalism, the electronic media was mostly radio. And, you know, I spent most of my years as a radio show producer, from Wenda Live, actually, to be precise. Even at that time, I think we had the same accusations.
They have never changed.
Yeah. I remember Badru Mulumba sent me my invitation to Google, and I discovered the World Wide Web. It's revolutionized, of course, the way things operate today. In fact, I think the main source of news or information today is not really what we refer to as the media. The media as we know it is gone. You know, I went to school to study the dynamics of this change. Both here and abroad, institutional media is changing. And therefore the relationship between the government and media practitioners, I think has even become irrelevant. Today WhatsApp, I think, is the largest circulating newspaper. It has got more reach and range than does NBS, for example. People have resorted to listening to their own little clubs. And part of this is because politics in Uganda has bred so much distrust. You know, over the last 20 years, if you look at every 5 years, the number of scandals that has emerged out of our political class, the list of unfulfilled promises, the secrecy and lies of the government, this breeds an environment of distrust. And it is that anxiety, which is not something that you manufacture in a newsroom. In fact, as a professional in this business, I have never claimed to be objective. And I don't think that me or my colleagues who here in the newsroom have a duty to be objective. And if you're a media person practicing today, get rid of the word objectivity. The real duty we have is a duty to be truthful, to tell the truth. In fact, we even say to speak truth to power, because it is that very power that tries to disfigure the truth. Politicians, you see, they're like lawyers, and Noban Mao is here. They can work from the same set of facts, okay, and speak two different languages. And unfortunately, our political system is designed that the person at the center, the voter, listens to both sides. But the media has a duty to go beyond what is being represented and to be truthful. And I think to that extent, both the online media and the institutional media, I think they have fallen short of their duty in these turbulent times.
In that case, what would you suggest to be the real role that the media should now play?
When you stand before a mirror, that's what the media should be. Stand before a mirror. If you dress decently, and that is what you see, then that is what it is. And that's what the media is. You see, the reason why you have got the
So are you saying government is in this case like the sheep that
No,
looks at the mirror and it looks at itself and thinks that the other one is the attacker and knocks the mirror?
Unfortunately, Odonfo, many communities both here and elsewhere have internalized this notion that politics is a dirty game. That to be a politician, we have internalized this view that there must be some kind of game afoot, that politicians rely on lies, on misinformation.
Okay.
And that's why you have got a minister of misinformation here. but why I was saying that the media has a duty to be honest, to be truthful, is because, like the mirror, it must keep society honest.
Okay.
And I'll make one final point about this lack of honesty, because I think that one of my disappointments about what happened in ARUA was I sit on the board of a charity called Chapter 4. We have been looking at Uganda's history of violence and asking ourselves the question, why doesn't the public seem to react with a real sense of values, that if you have got a society which inflicts so much harm on its members, that our reaction should be one to avoid violence, not to embrace it, and to deal with it, both with our institutions and within our homes.
Okay.
We had, Charles, just 1 second, we had an incident in Kasese. Men, women, and children, fathers and daughters were humiliated. 300 people died. The rest of the country shrugged their shoulders. The media didn't spend time explaining why the reaction in ARUA seemed to be, you read the newspapers, seemed to be much more fierce. And that should tell you something. Because if they think that what happened in Kasese was just worth a small footnote, and that something happened in ARUA, as brutal as it was, should get the whole country running around in circles, then our values are in the wrong place. Okay.
Honorable Kassiano, you as a politician has fed off whether the benefits or the wrong side of the media, and you take both, like Angelo said. Do you get a sense, having participated in just this ended election, that the media is now partisan? Do you get that same sense, or you look at it differently, especially when you become a victor?
Okay, thank you very much, Charles, and my fellow panelists.
But congratulations from the front line, officially,
yes,
for coming out a victor.
Well, I've come out as victor, but I have nothing to celebrate, because I would have celebrated if we didn't have people who lost lives, if we didn't have people who were maimed, if we didn't have a child with us in Gulumeni prison, also imprisoned as if the child could talk. So really, I have nothing to celebrate.
Okay.
And my having said that, I want to now go to the issue of the press. I think it is a big, big mistake on the side of government to imagine that the press has become partisan. If the press goes in the streets, like I watched a few clips of men adorned in military fatigue, innocently beating people in the streets of Kampala, and these footages are played and put in the screen. Can footages really tell a lie? Can footages tell a lie that there is a person adorned in a military attire and is beating an innocent journalist who is trying to inform the world of what is happening? So the notion that the media practitioners are partisan, I think is misplaced. Are partisan, I think is misplaced. Good enough, we have got two colleagues here who are in the cabinet. I've got my long-time friend, whom I always proudly refer to as Mr. Bright, the Honorable Bright Ramirama, Minister of State for Defense in charge of veterans. And I don't know whether to call it the other name, but whom I always proudly refer to as the Tolo Mutwa, the Honorable Dr. Chris Bariomusi.
And I call him the Congolese who sits in the parliament of Uganda.
With all that said, I think government needs to change its approach. I agree with Mr. Zama that the press actually is like a mirror. It reflects exactly what the situation is in the country.
If you're naked, you're naked.
If you're naked, you're naked. If you're clothed shabbily, there you are. So government really should appreciate that the press plays a very important role. That's the reason why they always refer to as the fourth arm of democracy in this country and worldwide. So really, I commend the press for having exposed the nakedness of the government in terms of what we have gone through the last 2 weeks.
Okay. Honorable, Honorable Bright, you will be last because there are issues that are, joining in the issues of how the media has been treated by the military. So I want you to first take from Honorable Mao and Honorable Salamu Sumba, then I come to you. Chairman Mao, I know that you pay a lot of attention to the work that the media does, and you study a lot of the dynamics of the media, both in the West and in our country, in our region. Do you get a sense that that government and the media are now like bitter, partners, or are they still performing the same roles, except that something else is changing politically, which then is causing the tension? What's your view?
I think first we have to ask ourselves about the point of view of the key actors. I'm sure all of us who are politicians have some complaint against the media. I think the media is like a pendulum. If it is swinging with you, you are happy. The media is free, it is independent, it is serving us well. If it is swinging against you, namely, either they are disclosing your peccadillos. For those of us who occasionally appear on the pages of the Red Pepper and Kampala Sun, that is something that makes you to groan. The point is, those are not reasons for clamping down on the media. So
they are professional imperfections. Would you call them that?
The media is a human institution. It's not perfect. Now, in the era of social media, news moves so fast that if you delay by 30 minutes, no one will open your blog or no one will even read your tweet because it is already being tweeted elsewhere. Now, because of that, sometimes people run away with the maybe wrong or half-baked information. Now, those in power want the media to serve the interests of those in power. They want the media to be like, the town criers of ancient times who would be getting a message from the king through the king's spokesperson, and then they go telling the whole village one side, one piece of information that everybody should accept without question. Now, today we don't have town criers. Last week I said we had the agricultural revolution, we had the industrial revolution, now we have the information technology revolution. Therefore, it is a waterfall. You have to find a way to dam it. The government has the money to employ the best spinners in the world. Unfortunately, many of the spinners have got to spin what is impossible to spin. Like what is happening now to Honorable Zake and Honorable Chagulanyi. Tell me how you can spin that. In fact, I really don't envy those who have to stand in front of the media every day at the Uganda Media Center. So tomorrow you stand there. They say, okay, the Uganda Medical Board says Honorable Chagulanyi can go to America for treatment. Government is even willing to pay. He is on bail. And then you go and say you can't leave the country. Honorable Zake, the police says we have been watching with interest where he has been. They wait until he's trying to leave the country for treatment, And indeed, our national treasurer called me and said, well, we have now made arrangement. Parliament has approved, government has agreed, the Ministry of Health has agreed. Then something like that happened. Okay. Tell me, if you are government, how are you going to explain that? I denounce the new tendency to misrepresent the media. Okay. Actually, the media shouldn't be neutral. We talk about impartiality, but not neutrality. No. The media should serve the national interest. The media should shine a torch of truth where there is anything which is happening. Okay. And all of us should celebrate a free media. Okay. And the government thinks it has a right to violate the right of the free press. Now, there's nothing such as a right to violate rights. Okay. Because when you hear the spokespersons of the government talking, they also say they have a right to violate those rights. Okay. Honorable Salam Musumba, how should the media that is found to be imperfect at a professional level, as we know it to be treated?
There's no question. It should be treated professionally and with the decency it deserves, because it occupies a space in the democratic dispensation. The problem we have is that we continue to think that we are a dark continent, that we are still in the dark, and therefore we transact business from the medieval times, and we blame everybody else except ourselves. The media has tried to cope with the times, to be in sync with the times, and to trend with the trends. If you were to look at the age of the people who work in NBS, for instance, and how they cover news, they can never, the Ramiramas of this world can never understand what they are doing. The hunger for news, the appetite for being trendy is way outside the way a government works. And therefore, they'll always be in conflict. They'll always be in conflict for as long as the government maintains its traditional stature. It overestimates itself and is out of touch with the citizens. They will continually be found on the wrong foot. It doesn't change. The principle remains: if the media exists, the media exists for a purpose, to inform the public, to educate the public, to entertain the public, and to shine a torch on the events that are happening in the world. We have received a lot of attention globally and nationally, and I'm sure it has really shocked the poor guys in government who thought that they had the privilege to mistreat the citizens and get away with it. They just have not understood the game. They haven't understood the plot, and they don't know how to. If I were to play the devil's advocate on behalf of government, I would say probably government as the the regulator of peace and order in society fears a situation like we saw in Rwanda, that you shouldn't allow it to go to that extreme. It didn't just emerge out of nothing. Wrong? There are layers and layers of dissatisfaction. There are layers and layers of unfinished business. There are layers and layers of pain that the government doesn't know how to unravel. Okay. And therefore, until they look themselves in that mirror once again and look straight in the eye of the citizen and know that they are serving the citizen, not serving themselves. Because right now they are serving only one interest: to preserve themselves in power. That is all they do from morning to evening. Honorable Bright, are we biased as a media?
Thank you very much, and good evening, viewers.